So, what are you doing? You running for president?
His name
yes.
is Hassan.
What made you decide to do that? Aren't you busy enough? Clothing company, successful rapper.
It was something that God put on my heart. A few days before the MTV Awards, it hit me in the shower. And when I first thought of it, I just started like laughing to myself, and it like all this like joy came over my body, just through my soul, and I just felt that energy. I felt that spirit. So then 2 days later, I accepted the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Awards at the MTV Awards, and instead of performing, my array of hit songs, I gave just my perspective on award shows, but always I knew at the end I was going to tell people I'm running for office. I'm running for president in 2020. Some people in the music industry, some people, tech elites, different things like that, and they would they just really took it as a joke. They're telling me all these millions of reasons why I couldn't run for president. I remember running into Oprah 2 days or 1 day after that, and she's like, "You don't want to be president." But I think my calling is to be. I believe that my calling is to be the leader of the free world. If it's in God's plan that part of my path is to be the governor, then
okay, is this real? I have to say, is this real, or is he still faking it? Or is he like this delusional? Is he actually this delusional, or is he faking it for like selling merch and shit like that? It's delusion, right? It's got to be delusion, right? I don't know if it's like a stunt for his new album at this point. Like maybe a mixture of both. Like maybe it's like performance art. I'm sorry, bro. You can make the best albums on the planet, but like as soon as you say God told me to become the leader of the free world, I'm like, no, you're out of your mind. Like you're completely insane. I'm sorry. Every president says that? No, they don't. And the ones that do say that are insane. George W. Bush said God told him to invade Iraq. That's insanity.
But my calling is to be the leader of the free world.
So when you say this, like when you say your calling is to be the leader of the free world, what does that mean to you? Does it mean, do you have a plan that's different? You have ideas?
What kind of plan?
Like the plan to be the leader. Like what would you do if you were the leader of the free world? Like what would be different about the way you would handle things? Like why would you want to do that? Like,
okay, this is why Joe's a good interviewer, okay? Here, I'm going to not pause it. This is why Joe's a good interviewer, though. He didn't even think twice about being like, that's crazy. And instead, he's just continuing on with the conversation.
People will say to me, I thought of it like if I was a pastor of a 100,000 person church, but then I was also a captain, a sailor. And then we went to war. And I said, I'm going to man this ship that has 1,000 people, 1,000 soldiers on it, because God is calling me to take this position. Even though I'm the pastor for however big my audience is in hip hop. The reason why I say leader and not politician or not even specifically president, this is the time. When the Constitution was written, that was an innovation. Now, the world is innovated all around our political system, but we haven't innovated and simplified our political system. So I met with this gentleman, Sam, one of the founders of Y Combinator. So Y Combinator is a contract that my friend, the head of Dropbox, use, and that a lot of tech guys use, and it's a standardized deal.
Dude, he's so lost in the sauce.
It's time for us to innovate.
Like all the tech spirituality with these like libertarian freaks who, in the tech world, focus on like spirituality and all this other like marketing elements, and that's usually what it is. Like tech isn't necessarily disruptive, but more often than not, it's just like a way to bypass like pre-existing labor regulations and then call it disruptive. You know what I mean? Like they'll take something that existed already and like act like it's disruptive, like a vending machine. If you guys remember, they said that like these bodegas are going to open up without unmanned bodegas every corner. I mean, I'm just basically describing to you what Groupon is to coupons, describing to you what Uber is to literally having to employ people as employees and not just contractors. That's exactly what they do, and then they call it disruptive. Kanye has, of course, unfortunately, he's brilliant as an artist and talented and creative, but not very smart when it comes to recognizing that he's being sold a fucking lie in most other circumstances, and that's why he loves Candace Owens and shit. He's like become the most annoying kind of like neoliberal a tech bro, like technocratic neoliberal entrepreneur who like loves spirituality.
When I told my father I wanted to rap, he was very like leery of that idea. He said, this I heard this business is terrible. And, you know, he's right. Like, people are all seeing things that are wrong inside of contracts, turning blind eyes to it, and everyone's responsible. Everyone's a part of it.
Bro, Kanye West is what happens when you get to a point in our celebrity idolization in our culture where like people just can't tell you to shut the f up and that you're wrong. And he's just surrounded himself with sycophants, and he obviously has issues on top of that too. And he just rambles on and on and on, and people are, because they're so fond of him because of the art that he has created at some point in time, that they try to find the brilliance in what he's saying, when in fact it's just a dude who is definitely punching above his weight class, hardcore. It sucks because I think that he genuinely is a curious person. And if only he would surround himself if only he would look for non-yes men to be around him, challenged him a little bit more, and maybe told him to shut the fuck up every now and then and be like, let me educate you on this. Because like, this shit is so embarrassing. It's not thought-provoking. It's just nonsense. It's like nonsensical drivel that only his like mega fans are going to try to turn into beautiful poetic moments, just like Trump supporters do with Donald Trump.
You know, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm saying that, in a way, everyone's responsible. Everyone's a part of the problem. That's why I really love that Black Mirror episode when...
Dude, that's so good. Kanye Stays be like, we should let him overturn Roe v. Wade. He made graduation. Oh, I'm tweeting it, dude. Fuck it, I'm tweeting it, dude.
It's another thing to say something negative and put that into the universe. It's another thing to see someone being raped. You know, that's the reason why I compare what's happening in the music industry to Me Too, because artists are raped. You've heard that term before. This is not like a new thing that I'm making up. The contracts are made to rape the artist. And
DGG's over here like, wow, Pog. I mean, he's a bit of a debate lord, dude. This is like number one debate lord take is to compare everything to a rape analogy. He got this from I'm 14 and this is deep. Like, I get the energy behind the words that he's trying to put together. These incredibly exploitative contracts are made to lock you in. They're coercive. They're exploitative. They come from a place where the person has all the power and is literally just fucking is literally pretty much forcibly fucking coercing you by fear of by fear of the structural violence of poverty into a contract that you normally would never ever in a million years want to sign, that does not have your best interest at heart. It's an insane analogy still, because you know it's very emotional. Why make a rape analogy and not one about slavery? Yeah, I don't get that. Well, slavery is a mindset according to Kanye, so maybe that's why.
This is like a thought right now. It's like, is this a negative thought that I'm putting into the universe? But I have to say, like, when I was going on Twitter, I was thinking about Bruce and Brandon Lee. That crossed my mind to say, this is Sony. This is Universal.
Can you explain what you're talking about with Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee? Like, what? I lost you there.
Okay, so Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee were both murdered.
Well, Brandon Lee died in an accident on a movie set.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a murder?
I felt
that's a conspiracy, right? The conspiracy was that the Chinese triad killed him the same way they killed.
When you got Joe Rogan calling conspiracies, you know this motherfucker had Alex Jones, Eddie Bravo. He's Mr. Conspiracy. When Joe Rogan calls your conspiracy a conspiracy, look at his face. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh no, that's not good.
You know, I'm mindful of that stuff. You think about like Bob Marley. They didn't just JFK or MLK him. There's like reports that it was something in his toe, or
he had cancer, right? I believe he had a skin cancer.
Yeah, like I went to go. I got a shot in my hand. I post a picture of the screen at the hospital, and then I was asked to take it down.
By who? People
just call me. I'm forgetting exactly who asked me, but it was like. They got to my management, they got to this, and they said, take that picture down. Like the hospital, it was in the weirdest place, you know, so.
What did they not like about the picture?
I think it had like, it might have had some information on it that they didn't want to go out, like an address or something like that. And it's just like, but I don't want to go down these rabbit holes. I'm just saying, like, Michael Jackson not waking up one day, Prince not waking up one day, Bruce and Brandon Lee, Bob Marley, all of these things have crossed my mind, you know, as I'm going and saying.
Okay, out of conspiracy theories, I can't talk about Bruce and Brandon, but the Michael Jackson and Prince conspiracies are the ones that have the most legs, especially considering the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like, it's a consequence of like overprescription. It's not like a deliberate attempt to assassinate someone, but there is definitely negligence involved in that. Their theories on top of that are always psychotic. You can absolutely figure out, or not figure out, but like there's always a simpler explanation for shit like this. There's always a more reasonable explanation for it, like medical malpractice or negligence beyond an international conspiracy to kill people.
There's a complete parallel to the way the music industry works and the way the world currently works, and the influence that America has on other countries. And
It's just capitalism. This is why, if you don't have dialectical materialism to fill that void in the back of your mind, like the puzzle piece, you just go into like insane, you go down insane ideological rabbit holes that end up with you believing in conspiracy theories. It's just like, oh wow, really? You mean to tell me that the exploitation of workers in the music industry is so similar to all the other industries? Maybe there is a larger economic organization that we all currently exist under that directly relates back to the inherent contradictions between workers and those who own the workers, that is built into the system, and the distribution of profit and the accumulation of profit as a consequence of that system that has normalized this way of commodity production. You could totally extrapolate that from the way that the music industry exploits its workers, except, you know, that's just capitalism. And if you don't believe that, then you have to believe in like idiotic, psychotic conspiracy theories like, I don't know, the Jews control it all or something. And why do they want to do it? I don't know. Why do they want to do the bad things? Oh, because they just want to control it. Why do they want to control it? Oh, I don't know. They just want to control it.
So if money is the key to all people's happiness and will solve everything, and everyone's doing things for money, let's just make more money. But it's not about making more money. It's about keeping poor people poor and rich people rich, and keeping people in their place. And right now, we're experiencing the fall of Rome, or the Titanic has now hit a glacier. People who would prefer to go down with the Titanic than to get on a lifeboat because they don't want to get seawater on their dress or on their nice outfit. The people are so programmed and brainwashed into classism and protectionism that it's difficult for people to embrace innovation unless it has a tag on it that's got a name brand connected to it that says, with this innovation, you will be better than the person, you'll be better than your next door neighbor. You know, when I made Sunday.
Oh my God. He's like, oh no, he was like right there. As far as the innovation stuff goes, I think it's really surface level. His argument about innovation, like leading up to the innovation and name brand tag recognition, that's really surface level. He's like edging near commodity fetishism, but he's like right there as far as keeping the poor poor, keeping the rich rich, the Titanic, rich people not taking like using the lifeboats because they don't want to get their nice expensive clothes fucked up. All of that stuff is perfect, but again, there's nothing to like ground that idea. So when you don't have anything to ground that idea, and then you have, you know, the attention span of a squirrel, you of course immediately move on to like your own personal experiences with like rapping for God or whatever. But before that, it's really good. Yeah.
So physics is one of the anchors of the school that I'm creating. I remember, you know, the city is all self-sustaining, so it works off of our 4 main resources: earth, wind, water, and fire. And 90% of it is running off of water with like aqueducts like the city of Masada. And I was talking to this engineer and saying, I need the whole thing to run off of water. And he said, well, we're going to have to use solar power. And I said, I don't, and please, don't take this as any offense. I don't like solar panels. I feel that they're part of still of what Edison's idea was. I don't feel like they're really in line with what Nikola Tesla really wanted to do with alternative current. We can get into the whole Tesla and what Edison did to take Tesla down, and the fact the world would probably be free by now if Tesla wasn't basically destroyed by the media that Edison controlled and the propaganda that Edison controlled. So,
dude, it's a little delusional, but like it's like half. I kind of get what he's trying to say. Don't get too caught up in like the word vomit or the fact that he said like I don't believe in solar. I think what he was trying to say is the way we store energy and the way we utilize energy is still outdated. Don't get into like the media memes and shit like that. He's just talking about like Nikola Tesla, but Hassan equals yes, man. Look, man, I'm just trying to understand what he's saying. No, there is a lot of madness there, but in the madness there is like a grain of truth, okay? But I feel like he's so confused. He's so in his own. He's getting in his own way, where he's so confused that he's having a hard time describing shit and then losing his train of thought and then moving on to the next thing. I think that he's insecure, and because of his insecurity, he's trying to say as many things as possible on any particular issue that he's talking about to like prove that he's not stupid, okay? And while he's doing that, he's also trying to describe something that he doesn't understand. The idea behind what he's trying to say is that even our current mode of energy production, and our energy production and also energy storage is completely outdated. And the way that we work with energy in general is completely outdated. Even solar panels are based off of that same way of storing and using energy.
We've got all this information and all this, these scientific exploration, these things that Tesla never completed, these things that Da Vinci never completed. We can look at all of these things and see how do we create the most primitive versions of this to create a fully sustainable ecosystem, which is, what COVID actually helped us to, get closer to our families, get closer to our children. That was mapped out for us to be 50 minutes away from our home and our kids' school to be 30 minutes away and to put us in traffic for that amount of time. And these cities have been designed to promote industry and just to make more money. They haven't been designed to promote happiness. So we're at this paradigm shift in our existence. We as human beings, this race on earth have like been honoring money. And, money it's not even real. It's not even backed by anything. I don't want to like go too far into that. But when you unprogram yourself, you see that there's other forms of currency now. Like relationships are a more important currency than money itself. And that's what we really saw. It's like the end of the movie. Our existence would be pre-COVID, post-COVID. And so as the Titanic is crashing and sinking and Rome is falling, there's got to be this new civilization like the end of Tron where everything starts to light up and it's been under this like dark cloud. So, God is using me and he has a calling.
God damn it! You're so close! Why? What is this God shit? I'm like, come on! He's literally like preaching utopian communism, like post-capitalist society where we no longer have need for money, like post-scarcity. And then he just goes back to like, God told me. It's like, fuck you, stop. Also, this kind of doesn't make sense. He's saying that like people who idolize money should not be idolized. Dude, you idolize every billionaire. You're the #1 billionaire simp. So like, why don't you practice what you preach in that respect too? Like, he is the classic, oh my God, I love Steve Jobs so much simp because he was suckered into believing the marketing, okay? He like read a book or someone told him Steve Jobs is great. And now he's like, oh yeah, he was so brilliant. He was such a visionary. He himself talks consistently about the propaganda machine or the way we've been like wired to think a certain way. But then he is the #1 guy who thinks that way while simultaneously thinking he's above it all. And it's so sad.
All people, like people say, there's bad people, there's good people. No, there's people that are possessed, that have demonic ways, but we were all children at one time. They say some people, no, they were born bad. You got to remember, like, say, oh, there's bad people. Even the devil's an angel, a fallen angel, right. A lost angel, like Los Angeles, if you think.
But that's a city of angels.
Oh my God, dude. Joe's like
angels. I'm saying
Joe's like, this is
you're
crazy.
Looking at all. Like, I remember when you started doing your Sunday service, and my friend was like, what is he doing? I go, he's making going to church cool again. Like, you don't think that's, look at all these people having a great time. You have thousands of people that are chanting and singing along.
When I think about Jonestown, I think about, making church cool again. I think about just a cool guy making church cool. I see nothing wrong with this. What do you mean? Nothing wrong could come out of building a new cult.
And I was tired of serving the music industry, tired of serving, filling up stadiums. The last concert, last tour I did, we had a floating stage. And actually it was a hanging stage, but it looked like it was floating. And that's just another thing. That's illusion, where we need to dispel the illusion. I wouldn't even call it the floating stage today, but lose money on tour.
Kanye be like, magic tricks are a sin. They disrespect the might of Allah. It wasn't floating. It was just hanging. I would not call it floating anymore. That's witchcraft.
If you erase our history, like most black people, we don't know where we come. We think we came from slaves. We don't know our bloodline. And we're given Black History Month, and we take that like it's some gift to us. No, it's a programming to us. Racism doesn't end until we get to a point where we stop having to put the word black in front of it, because it's like we're putting the rim a little bit lower for ourselves. But we shouldn't have to have a special box, a special month, because also what they show in Black History Month is us getting hosed down, reminding us that we were slaves. Like, what if we had, remember when I cheated on you month? Like, remember when you first found the text messages? Remember, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel depleted and defeated,
Stop saying he's not wrong. You're fucking nuts, dude. It's like, this is some straight up fucking Hotep shit, dude. He's literally fucking wrong. There's an element to the racial porn that you see in the media, like when George Floyd gets murdered, that image being portrayed over and over again. It normalizes like violence being done towards African-American men, where it's so normal that like you can see it, but you rarely would ever see it in a similar capacity when it happens to white people. But that's entirely different than like having white people face the brutality that they subjected black people to and learn from that so they can make the future better for new generations of African Americans. The whole purpose of Black History Month is not to oppress black people by reminding black people of the, black people of the being hosed down and shit.
So my question is, why do people think there's something wrong with you?
48 minutes of Kanye West rambling on everything uncontrollably, including like building a cult. Joe Rogan's like third question chiming in overall is, why do you think people think there's something wrong with you when you're so productive? That's an awesome take.
So that's what you felt happened to you. Like you were telling the truth and you were exhausted and they labeled you as mentally unhealthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Am I saying this right? That what happened with you is, like we talked before and you were saying that they had you on medication, but the medication f***ed your creativity.
Or it blocked my ability to channel what God wanted me to do. But we're all on medication right now. Did you use toothpaste with fluoride today? It blocks your pineal gland. And they put children on it, and we put our kids on it. It's inside the deodorants that we use. It's all these things to create like a disconnect to God.
And there it is. If Kanye wasn't Kanye West and he was saying this as like, is this not the first guy who said those things in front of Joe Rogan? Okay? But if it wasn't Kanye West saying it, you'd be like, oh, that's so funny. That's Alex Jones. He's being crazy. Ha ha, lol. Meanwhile, when Kanye says it, you're like, well, I really do appreciate his discography, so I think I'm going to go with, yeah, no, he's a visionary.
One of my favorite things that they did is they put me on this medication that made me gain a lot of weight. And I said, I'm not going to take this. And they said, okay, we got a medication you could take where you won't gain weight. And this shows you they were trying to kill a superhero, slowly trying to kill genius, trying to make me not feel like I could run for president, make me not feel.
Come on, dude. Hey. Remember when some of you were like, oh, he looks fat. Like he's probably taking the medication again. Thank God he's doing well. I mean, come on, bro. He's calling himself a superhero. Stop caping by saying he speaks in metaphors, okay?
And I remember going on TMZ and saying, you know, slavery is a choice. And they medicated me for saying that, for having that opinion and saying it out loud. But as I put those contracts up, I'm saying this is a choice.
You didn't mean people being abducted and brought into slavery and put into chains was a choice. What you were talking about is people making decisions that would enslave them financially and enslave their life.
Yeah.
But it was taken out of context, and it was taken in the least charitable way, and they decided to try to say, look at crazy Kanye, look at this shit he's saying.
Yeah.
And then they medicate you.
Yes. And the media is always taking anything out of context that isn't a part of the overall narrative.
So why did you agree to let them do this to you? Why did you agree to let them medicate you? Because if that, look, I'm crazy, for sure. But if someone came to me and go, hey, we're going to put you on some medication, that medication is going to calm you down, I'd be like, everything I do is because I'm not calm. Everything that I've ever done that's made me successful is because I have more energy, is because I have a wildness. Like, I'm not calming that down. Like, I know how to calm myself down. With you and all these wild ideas that come to your head, like, very few people could string together these thoughts the way you're describing them today. If somebody asked me if there's anything wrong with him, he's filled with awesome. Like, what's wrong with that? If you can keep that together, what you just did, the way you just described reimagining civilization, reimagining church, reimagining the food supplies, there's nothing bad about that.
Incredible amounts of enabling that's genuinely dangerous, followed by coping for his prior statements that he made in a delusional episode, really will probably have damaging consequences overall. I find that to be like genuinely concerning. No, I'm listening. I'm watching.
One of the major statistics on the subject of life is that the greatest advocates for the A word are men from ages 31 to 37. And that's how old I was. And I felt like I was too busy. My dad felt like he was too busy for me. And we have a culture of that. You know, we have to decouple the conversation of Planned Parenthood and woman's choice. Now, so of course, I'm Christian, so I'm pro-life. When I go into office, I'm not changing laws because I realize we live in an imperfect world, in an imperfect society. What I will be presenting is a plan A. And we've already started to work on plan A to change the connotation of orphanages, to change the connotation of foster care. What is this like? And we have so much land that this can be created and then spread across the world to orphanages in Africa and in China and just across the globe to create these environments that when there's expecting families, moms and fathers, that they feel like there's a place, even if they don't feel well off enough to bring another life into this world, that there's a place to go. There's a plan A.
I don't understand what anything he said thus far having to do with a woman's right to choose what the fuck to do with their own body. Do all that good shit. But what the fuck does that have to do with whatever the fuck business women have in their own uterus and their own pussies, okay? It's not up to you, brother. It's just the truth. Why are we having a conversation where it's like, sorry, I'm going to do all this good stuff, but then you have to carry a pregnancy to term? Like, really?
this planet, when we keep turning a blind eye to our brothers and our sisters and our family, which is us as a whole, as all of humanity, then of course it's going to get to the point where there's, homeless sleeping under, a bridge in Calabasas, because we ignored the homeless person sleeping in front of the Gucci store. Just look at that visual. It's a homeless person sleeping in front of the Gucci store. We have people who know how to make communities. We have people who know how to cook and how to make food.
It's about to be
and how
based.
to fighting over land and not really realizing that we're not maximizing our resources and our existence. We've got genius level scientists. We've got people who people who have broken out of the chains, like Elon. Like, imagine if Elon was working at GM on the third floor somewhere. We wouldn't have electric cars. We wouldn't have that new Porsche hybrid. We wouldn't have
Elon invented electric cars.
What's happening
dude?
with the guy that started
What?
Airbnb was shut down, or the guys who started Uber were shut down. All of these,
bro. This is what I mean. First of all, Elon didn't even invent Tesla, and secondly, how do you go from there's a homeless person in the Gucci store and then simping for all these billionaires who literally make quote unquote disruptive tech, which is just the same shit, but basically the only thing they're disrupting is like labor regulations or buying into a pre-existing company and hiring good engineers. It's all patina. That's it. That's all Elon Musk and motherfuckers like Steve Jobs, who died sucking on green juice when he had cancer. That's all that they do. How are you so close to recognizing the inequality built into our system and then literally turn and simp for the motherfuckers who not only just benefit from it, but also continue to advocate for its legitimacy? The cruelty that we experience on a daily basis is there because the billionaires and the institutions that they have created time and time again have legitimized this cruelty. And then you turn around and you literally look at, like, the homeless person and the billionaire are the same thing. Okay, not to get all Kanye West on you, but there's a lot of simps in here, so maybe they'll understand it a little bit better if I use like these grand metaphors. The billionaire and the homeless person is the exact same thing. You want to know why? Not because they're both human. They are both products of our fundamentally broken organization of the economy. They're both human beings, but the existence of billionaires, just like the existence of a homeless person, is the perfect symbol that our system is fundamentally broken. Not a single individual should be able to accumulate that level of wealth. Just like not a single individual human being deserves to live without shelter. Problem is, the existence of one necessitates the existence of the other. And Kanye can't see that, and that's why he's into like all these idiotic conspiracies.
Like this brilliant person I was talking from MIT, and he was afraid. Everything was fear. Everything was about his girlfriend's pregnant, and we just got a house, and I don't want to do anything to change this. And this is like one of the most brilliant people on the planet. But if you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people that are going to change the world. Because
the fear that that person represents, no, this is woke. It's literally woke. This is what Karl Marx envisioned when he talked about a hunter who could go fishing in the middle of the day, clock into the factory, and then, I don't know, work on fulfilling their own artistic endeavors or pursuits at night. What he's talking about here is, unironically, the fear that he's talking about is the fear of not being able to have subsistence wages so that you can't sustain yourself. The fear of the structural violence of poverty. He's talking about visionaries being shackled by our profit-based system.
These people just need to see what it looks like to overcome the smoke screens of public humiliation, of bankruptcy. I was in debt. The fear of loss, I lost my mom, or the fear of death. The thing is, when you remove, like even in the schools, you remove prayer, you remove God, you remove
Bro, this is so dumb. Chatter is correct. MIT guy is worried about his material conditions. And also, the fear of bankruptcy. What kind of bankruptcy protections are out there for the homeless guy? Without capital, without intergenerational wealth, what Kanye West is talking about is nearly impossible. He's talking rich guy shit right now, okay?
So I still don't understand how they talked you into medication, man. I wish I knew you better back then, because I would have just had you exercise. I would have had you. I would say, so whatever he's doing, you can't do. Different people have different amounts of energy. They have you have this ability.
I'm losing
to have these.
Okay, we can't do that. No. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh shit, bro. They said you're bipolar. Just exercise, lol. Come on. That's the ultimate Joe Rogan take, dude. God damn, dude. No way. Just lift some heavy weights. You'll be fine. By the way, there is truth to that still. Of course, exercise helps you, and exercise is something that your doctor could literally tell you. It's not Joe Rogan, who is simultaneously telling you not to take the medication that the doctor is asking you to take.
And like my best example is like Kodak is they're in a place where they can barely pull it together now, but they invented the digital camera and they didn't bring it to market because they had all this film to sell.
I'm gonna lose it.
I designed.
Capitalism inhibits innovation. Just say it. Just like say it out loud. See how it sounds when those words leave your mouth. Maybe you will like it. Just say it. Capitalism does not foster growth or innovation. It inhibits it. Just try it out, dude. Also, those Crocs are so ugly. If I saw any of my homies wearing that, I would literally never let them live it down.
There's only 1 billion people on the internet. You never think about that. There's 7 to 8 billion people on Earth, but then there's only 1 billion people that are influenced and that are on the internet. We feel like the internet is everything. It's only like 15%, 18% of human beings.
Okay, bro.
While the powers of our political system are still anchoring on electoral college, which was based around slavery, about the idea of slaves being 3/5 of men. And get this, it wasn't even created by pro-slaves. 3/5 of man was created by the anti-slaves in the North as a compromise. And that basically explains the existence of black people in America to this day. The people that were on our side supposedly said we were 3/5 of men. The people that were on our side.
Did he just find out about 3/5? Yo, it's like when there's a type of person, and I know Felix makes jokes about this a lot, Biederman. It's the type of person that's like, oh, I came up with this idea for the first time. Like, I feel like that's what listening to Kanye is like, where he's like talking about shit that everybody knows, but he just found out about it. So he's just like, dude, did you know this shit? Like, maybe he should have not skipped out on Black History Month, dude. It's like he thinks that every thought that he has is unique, where he feels like everything that he maybe overheard from someone else is like his own invention. You know what I mean?
Where if you have Latinos, blacks, other minorities, they're redrawing the lines to affect the vote to this day. That does not relate to the information highway that we live in today that allowed...
Joe, there's this guy called Jerry, Joe, and he's mandering. Joe! This motherfucker Jerry, we need to find him, Joe. Where is this guy? You hear about this shit? Gerald? Listen, Gerald, I'm on to you.
The Democrats were willing to take the chance of not winning as long as the conglomerate could be completely in control. You know what I'm saying? That Bernie would have won.
He would have won.
This is I wore a Trump hat. I'm saying like Bernie is a superhero.
Yeah.
Yo, that's so disgusting, dude. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, base because he likes Bernie. Because he still pairs that up with I want Trump. And to me, that's disgusting, okay? Like, fuck off. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't give a fuck that Kanye West is saying Bernie would have won. That shit sucks. If you're going from Bernie to Trump, you're filth, okay? You're nothing. You have no opinions. You have no moral compass. You have no understanding of the world. You just want to see the world burn.
I'm on 12 ballots and in 17 states that you could write me in on. So if people that never voted, got up, registered, voted for me, they'd have to take it to the House because I could possibly win now. I'm definitely 100% winning in 2024.
There is no clearer indication of how racist liberals are, specifically white liberals in media, than when they saw Kanye announce that he was running for president and they were like, he's trying to take the black vote away from Joe Biden. Like, just, I want every single person that had that take to watch this entire thing in slow motion 4 times as punishment for having such a profoundly racist thought. It's such a profoundly stupid take that Republicans can only come up with it. Do you understand me? It's like how a racist white dude envisions black people to be like, oh, well, we'll put one of them black hip-hop singers on the ballot. You know, those blacks, they like that, right? So you saying like that's why Republicans wanted Kanye to run is exactly what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. Republicans are that racist and they think that that's how it's going to work.
It's a giant part of what it is to be a person, is to worry about your body being broken, to worry about being sick, to worry about what this is going to cost your family financially and how it could ruin people. This is a huge issue in our country, is medical health. So have you thought about that?
Absolutely. I hear you and I feel you. Being more inventive in the way we connect holistic
Thank you. I hate video ads.
Medicine
for the 50 big
with
ones.
Modern medicine. I believe in both medicines. I believe in God. I believe in
a question about Medicare for all and Bernie Sanders, or like a conversation about Medicare for all and Bernie Sanders goes into, I believe in holistic medicine. He's literally Trump, dude. He's just like spiritual Trump. He's Trump if Trump had like a creative bone in his body.